Hello and welcome to another episode of FireDEV, a fireside chat with developers. And today I have Smit Patel with me, and I'm really excited for this episode. He's team lead at Gametion Technologies, and they've made the successful game Ludo King, which has had over 800 million downloads. Well, I'll hand it over to Smit to introduce himself.
Yeah, hello everybody. Yeah, I'm Smit Patel, and currently I'm a team lead at Gametion Technologies, Navi Mumbai. And I have been into the game developments since last 12 years. And I had started my career as a junior game developer, and now I'm the team lead. And it has been great journey. So I'm here to discuss the same.
Okay, sounds good. And have you, because you're working at Gametion Technologies, have you personally worked on Ludo King yourself, or are you working on some of their other games?
No, the other games, because the Ludo team is separate. So I joined Gametion on the COVID time. So it's more than 2 years. So I'm working on the mostly multiplayer card games. So I worked on the call break game from the scratch. Now we are working on another new card game.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, because like, how is it like working for a company like Gametion? Because honestly, before speaking to you, I had not heard of Gametion. But when because I saw on your LinkedIn that you worked for Gameloft, a
Yeah.
fair few years ago, and I remember, and like I know Gameloft, especially a lot of people in the West, well, especially the
Yeah.
games they've created. And then I saw the other companies that you worked for. I didn't really know those names, but when I
Yeah.
googled Game Shion, who you're working for currently, and then like a bunch of stuff was coming up about Ludo King and their successful games. There was a lot of articles, and then I went
Yeah.
on to the Google Play Store. I'm on it now, and it's saying 500 plus million downloads for
Yeah.
just Ludo King, and that's just on Google Play. Then you got iOS as well, so it's such a crazy big developer. How is it working for a developer of that size in India? Because that must be one of the biggest
Yeah.
India's
It's
one of the biggest developers
It's
for
one
India.
of the biggest game in around the world.
Yeah,
If
I
you
guess so. It would
if you
be.
count top 10, then there will be definitely Ludo King will be there. Okay,
Uh,
because it has
that's
so
insane.
much download and it has no doubt it has really close connection with the Asian audience, but still it's a really big hit in all around the world. So, and if you talk about Gameloft as well, right? So my first job was at Gameloft. Okay. So I had done my engineering in information technology. Okay. So when I just finished my engineering, that was final that I want to go ahead in the game development. So just through my one of the friend, I came to know that Gameloft and EA Sports are here in the Hyderabad, India. At that time. So before that, I didn't know that Gameloft is here. It's one of the studios here in the India. So I applied over there, and 4 5 rounds were taken at that time. I'm talking about 12 years back. Okay. So I got the job and I joined as a junior game developer. And through that, my journey begins, because when I was in Gameloft, before that, I didn't know like how gaming studios works. So I got the AAA gaming studio experience, how the producer works, how the artist works and all that. So my journey began over there. And you ask about the current company, right? Gametion. So uh, before joining here, I used to make a lot of multiplayer games. Okay, so I was already into the Ludo games and Carom, and if you take any 2D board multiplayer games, then I've already developed that. Okay, so I had really good hands on that such multiplayer games because I do have knowledge of backend as well. Okay, so I know how things work for the front end part. So that really helped me to get job over here. And in last two and a half year, I'm working on the card-based multiplayer games. And over here we have really good separate departments. Okay, so backend team will be handle the backend part. Okay, we are not using any kind of ready-made tools like Photon or something like that. We create our own backend code. Okay, because that helps really. Because see, I give you one example. The Ludo game, when the COVID came. Okay, in India, there were like lockdown for 3 4 months. Okay, so the traffic was increased such a way that we were getting for 55 million daily active user. 55 million. Okay, so if we were using any kind of ready-made tools, then those traffic will not be handled really well. So because of our backend team, we handle it over really well, and we didn't have to like front-end developers don't have to think much about the how the backend parts will work. There are QA department is there and producers, so that's like it's a proper gaming studio.
Oh yeah, I mean, it would be with over 800 million downloads on just that one
Yeah,
game, and then million more downloads on the other
yeah.
game. I mean, I can't see Gametion getting to that size and it not having all the the things set up. So, how many offices does Gametion have?
Uh, Currently one in Navi Mumbai, but after this COVID, na, they started giving the work from home as well. So currently, I am
Okay.
also joined as a work from home only. Okay,
Okay.
so that gives a really new, like great visibility for because India is a really big country. Okay, so
Of course,
can't
yes.
everybody come to the Mumbai for jobs? So maybe some are like tier two cities, tier three cities. Okay, so this COVID gives the really new ideas. Okay, yeah, even through home we can like work, right? So during COVID also, like we were the team of 10 different members. Okay, like including the testers and producers, the junior developers, the team leads. Okay, the head of the company, right? So we were working really fine. And there were no issues. So currently, I can say like a lot of employees are still working from home, and like more than like 50 plus employees is working from office as well.
Okay. So, how's it like working at home compared to working in the office? Because I'm guessing before COVID, the roles that you had over the years, because you worked at Gameloft, you worked at, where else did you work? I had to hear you had Saw Jack Gaming Studio as well. So I'm guessing you was in a physical office for those ones. So
Yeah, yeah.
so what's the contrast like working remote?
See, so both has pros and cons. Okay, so uh, office culture is also very important. Okay, because what it gives, like you will be connected to your co-workers, right? And see, suppose if company has 100 employees. Okay, all those are not working on the single project, right? There will be multiple projects. So if you go to daily office, you might get idea of other project as well, right? Like what they are working on, how they are doing it. If they are getting any some serious issues, then you can be part of that as well, right? So if you get the same issue after 2 months, 6 months, then you can connect to that team, right? How did you resolve that issue? I am currently facing the same issue, right? So office culture is definitely important. Okay, so that's why the from last couple of months the new trend is coming like companies asking like come 2 days for office and the 3 days you can work from home. Okay, so you can manage your family as well and you can be part of office culture as well. So that is again it's a good idea. Like a lot of in US, I think a lot of already started doing the same thing. So I think that will be really good. And work from home gives the like I became father like 8 months back. Okay, so
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. So through that journey. So when the my wife was pregnant, we got the news, okay, last year. So that was the at that time second COVID wave was going on, okay. So if I need to go to daily office, then that will be really risky for my wife as well, right? So that helped me, right? So it's really good work from home as well. But for growth, like for your individual growth, office culture is also really important.
Okay, so what's the, because obviously some companies are doing more of a hybrid approach. Some days in office, some
Yeah,
days at home. Is that
mm.
something that you would prefer? Because it seems like
Yeah, yeah. I will prefer that. Yeah,
you prefer that. Okay,
yeah.
and where you live currently, how far is it from the Gametion offices? Would it be
So I'm
practical for you to go
currently
in?
I'm totally on different city. Okay,
Okay,
so
so
yeah.
it's not
Currently
practical to
I'm in
go there.
hometown. Yeah, currently I'm in the hometown.
Okay, but again, it's good because of
Yeah.
remote working, you're able to work at a big company that you wouldn't otherwise be able to unless you moved.
Yes. Yeah.
So that means, and also, let's say if you switch jobs, you could work for a company that's in a totally different place. You won't be
Yeah.
restricted to where you've just moved to. So yeah, obviously, there are a lot of positives.
Yeah.
Does How long have you worked at Game Shion? Currently, 2 years.
Mostly 2.5 years.
2.5 years, okay. And in that time, has Game Shion sort of done any events where you go into the office or some sort of party or something
Uh,
to get employees mingling in real life?
Yeah, they did, but I was not able to be the
Attend.
part of the same because of my son only. Just last month only, I got award for like exemplar of consistency. Okay, so they even given me the trophy. They make sure that I receive the trophy at my home. Okay, certificate and everything. Okay, so but I was not able to because my son was very ill at that time, so I was not able to make it over there. But yeah, they eventually they do after every like 3 4 months from this year only because last 1 2 year was very heavy because of COVID and all that. But
Of
now
course.
everything is settled, so now they started doing all the things.
Okay. And talking about COVID, over the last couple of years, how did you find COVID? Especially considering, it forced a lot of people to stay inside, be remote, so you wasn't seeing people as much. So how did you personally find that from a work perspective and just a personal perspective?
Uh, it was like if I talk about just my experience, then it was okay because we are in such an industry that we can work from home, right?
Yes,
So,
of
but
course.
not everybody can work from home, right? We have laptop and we can do the work, but not can everybody do the same. My father is a physics teacher. Okay, so he take private tuition classes. Okay, so he need to go to the coaching class, right, to teach the students. So, but when the COVID came 2 year back, okay, so at that time, the by government rules, everybody need to just stay on the home only. So what I did is I make him a app. Okay, I built one app and like in our home only, I created everything like the whiteboard and everything. And through that app only, my father was able to teach all their students. I shared the APK files to them and all that. So for us, if I just talk about us, then the COVID was not that terrible, okay, because we were in the home only. Like almost after 1.5 year, we go outside for like mini vacation. So in our nearby only, we will be able to find all the groceries and all that. Okay, but if I talk about our families and relatives, it was very terrible. Okay, but yeah, thankfully now it's almost gone. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it was obviously very difficult for many people out there.
yeah.
What made you become a developer? Because you said you've been doing developing for about 12 years now. What actually made you become a developer instead of some other role in IT or something else?
Yes. So, if do you remember the Orkut era?
Which
Uh,
era?
Orkut, before Facebook, the Orkut was very famous, right? The social media. I don't
It
know
doesn't
if you
ring a bell.
remember.
How do you
Yeah.
spell it so I can look at it afterwards?
ORKUT. So it was like taken by the Google, but after that they shut it down. Okay, so in that there was like groups and forums. Okay, so I was very active in that. Okay, I'm talking about like 2006. Okay, when I joined the college. Okay, so at that time I came to know about all these things, languages and all that, and I was very active in that Orkut. And before joining college, I already learned the C, C++, and all that. Okay, so when I joined the college, I already knew the very basics of all the languages. Okay, so uh, that helped me. Okay, and when I interact with other peoples, okay, so I realize that I'm really good at this, and I should focus more into developing. And after 6 months or 12 months, what I did is in Orkut, I help other peoples, okay, like giving the answers. The people were asking all the language related questions and all that. So that really kicked me, and I thought, okay, yeah, this is the line. uh, I can think about like in developing what like particular branch I should think that I can think on the future, but at least I want to be the developer on. Okay, so because I was really good at that, and the logic thing, I'm really good at logic, like making big model into the small module. Okay, I'm really good at breaking down the small models. Okay, so when I realized that, I thought, okay, I want to go in the developing only, and in the fifth semester we had a subject called AI, artificial intelligence. So in that subject, I made one game. That was my very first game. That was the Othello game. Okay, so when I developed that game, I find it very interesting, and I thought, okay, I should think into going into the game development. Okay, so that was the my first idea about the gaming when I was in the fifth semester. And luckily um, I was happy to find the Gameloft. Okay, and Gameloft really helped me. uh, when I joined the Gameloft, now what I used to do is like in my free time, we I can access the lot of code base. Okay, so what I used to do is I stayed late on the evenings, even I go to the weekends also, okay, at office, and I read all those source code. Okay, so that really helped me because at that time, if you remember, I'm talking about 2010. They used to make like 3 GB games, 3 GB size of games, 4 GB size of games at that time. Okay, so those were really big games, and that really helped me in a lot of ways.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
so at Gameloft, where I see that you worked at Nova on Nova 2.
yeah,
I remember playing the Nova games. I used to love them so much. Because I
yeah,
remember when the, App Store first came out, you had iPhone, you had Android devices, and the games were a bit, they weren't quite the best. And I think
yeah,
Nova, Modern Combat, and those games were some of the first ones that they
yeah,
kind of felt like they could be on like a PSP or a
yeah,
DS. They actually
yeah,
felt more like conventional games,
yeah,
and the graphics as well, considering it was just on your phone.
yeah.
And so on Nova 2, what did you specifically do?
Yeah. So uh, our Indian studio. So in Indian studio, we used to do the porting part. Okay, so like the head branch is in the Paris. Okay, so over there they used to make the games from the scratch. Okay, so what they normally do is they develop just for iPhone only. Okay, currently I don't know, but at that time that was they do. Okay, so the main developers will create the whole game from scratch, but just for the iPhone. Okay, now once the game is ready for the iPhone, okay, I can say like almost 90%. What they will do is they will share all the source code to the all their studios all over around the world, and they will decide, okay, this game will go to the Indian branch, and over here, what we used to do is like we port the same game for the Android. Okay, now for the porting part, what we need to do is like we need to handle all the Android part, like from touch input to the multi-resolution and tablet part and mobile part separately and gestures and all that part. So my first interaction was like how we can port the same iOS game to the Android. Okay, so that's where I started my journey. Okay, because before that we didn't know how, like because it's a really big code base. Like I still remember um, to compile the whole code, it takes around 3 hours. Okay, at that time, it takes
Jesus,
3 hours to compile the code.
it's a lot. And I'm guessing you was using high-end machines as well.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. So I think I remember we were using i3, i5. At that time, it was the latest one. Yeah. 2010. Okay, and if I like edit any header file, then it might take at least 15 to 20 minutes to recompile it, and if I clean the project, then it will take 3 to 4 hours minimum.
Uh, uh,
I
uh,
still remember that we used to play Counter Strike in between that. So when the code is compiled, we like we minimize the compilation and we used to play the Counter Strike. And our producer and leads and junior developers all will play together.
okay, so is everyone was just playing, so and nobody
Yeah, and
minded.
yeah, nobody minded because they knew. See, in gaming, it's really cool. Like we there will be a deadline. Okay, so before 2 months, 3 months, we will know like what need to be completed in next 1 month, 2 month, or 3 months.
Hmm.
Okay, so that goal needs to be achieved. Okay, so what I do today, that does not matter. If my goal is like within this week this should be completed, then it should achieve. Okay, so today I'm playing game or not, that doesn't matter. Okay, because over there, like even dress code, nothing was compulsory. We can play table tennis and anything. We used to play table tennis or at least 1 hour each day. Okay, it was really good fun.
I'm
But
guessing you got pretty good at table tennis then.
yeah, but almost after like 1.5 year, I reached the maximum level. Okay, like after that, there was nothing that will help me to gain my knowledge. Okay, at that time, I decided, okay, now I need to switch the job at that time because I was in the one of the top team. Okay, and I done almost everything. But over there, like as I told you, we used to port the game from one platform to another platform, so there will be not much things I can work on. So after that I realized, okay, now I need to switch the job to gain my knowledge and experience and all to another.
Okay, and afterwards, where did you go from Gameloft?
Gameloft, I switched to Hangama Digital. It's a Bollywood publisher, okay, like movie publisher. So they work on like mobile games, even for like DTH platforms, okay, like our Dish TV and all that. Okay, so I developed games for Dish TV and all that for like 2 hours, sorry, 2 years, because that helped me a lot of ways, like because there were like so many restrictions for that, DTH platforms, like because it's a very low powered device, there is
Hmm.
no floating support. Okay, and we need to make games for such device, so that really helped me to optimize my logic and all that. Okay, so again, I worked over there for like 2 years, and after that, I decided, okay, now that's it. And now I'm not gaining anything. Now, time to switch.
And switch up, nice.
But after that, I decided to start my own studio. Okay, so the Surjak Gaming Studio, that was my own studio. It was my own startup. So I run that, started that, and um, I was the only founder. There was no any co-founder. So I run my company. It was bootstrap startup. I run my company for 5.5 years. Okay, but after that, one time came like the funding matters, right? You cannot survive much either because I think we had developed more than around 15 games, in-house games. We were also making games for clients as well, but that was different case because I need to survive as well. So we were taking clients project as well, and we develop our own games, more than 15 games, but none of them worked, uh, the way it should work. So after that, one day I decided, okay, now I need to, like I need to find some other things in my life. So that was very really tough time for me because you have 10 employees, right? And you need to tell them, okay, this is the time I'm thinking to shut down the studio. It was really tough time, but I give them proper notice period and all that. I make sure each of them gets the job properly, and after that, I wrap up my startup and started searching for a job. And after that, I joined here,
Join
Gametion.
Games, yeah. Okay, so you started Sajak Game Studio. You was the CEO and co-founder. I mean, CEO and founder of that, only founder,
Yeah,
and you grew it to 10 people. I mean,
yeah.
that's very impressive. So obviously, you must have between the games and the client work, you must have been
Everything.
making
I used to
okay.
do everything,
Okay,
like finding the clients and managing the ongoing pipelines. Okay,
yeah.
current projects, doing the R&D stuffs,
Hmm.
hiring people, mentoring the current employees. If any employees facing any bug, I sit with him and push him like, okay, this is wrong. This is you are doing wrong. If any, let's say we are making any advanced game, we need to incorporate the pathfinding algorithm. Then I will make one small module that my employee can easily implement the same. And so used to do everything, one man job. Okay,
Okay.
so that really helped me in many ways because uh, if I tell you that I used to work at least 18 hours per day. Okay, 18 hours. Okay, because clients will be from anywhere, right? UK, US. They might ping you at night. Okay, I need to reply them, right?
Hmm.
uh, so it was really challenging part, but I learned lot of things like how company works. So today I know everything. Okay, like if something happens, then I can real imagine like why that happened. I can if you done job for 10 years, okay, that guy might not know like how the company works. Okay, but now I have 12 years of experience. Out of that, 5 years of my own company experience. Now I think from the both sides. Okay, I can think from company point of view and I can think from employee point of view as well. Okay, so that changes a lot of things. And in my when I started my Surgeon Gaming Studio, I knew that multiplayer games will be really huge in the near future. I'm talking about 2014. Okay, so I started doing R&D for multiplayer games, and I learned myself like how backend need to be, make and Node.js and everything, JavaScript. I make my own framework for backend. I hired the team for backend, okay, and we develop our own framework. Before that, I tried Photon and AppRep and a lot of things, but I faced a lot of problems using such frameworks. So I decided to make my own framework. So I created architect for backend, and we develop in-house and admin panel and everything. Like once the traffic increase, how the load should be balanced and everything we develop. So that really helped me today, like because now I am the team lead for the front end part. But let's say my company decides today to implement any new module. Okay, XYZ module needs to be implemented in ongoing game. So before implementing, I knew like what will be the tough part for the backend, whether we need to force the update, because if we are adding any new feature into existing game, that then might we need to give the force update. Okay, so that will impact the our daily active users. So I can think from all the point of views. So I did not uh, earn any money, but I did earn a lot of knowledge and experience that
Okay,
that
so
is really helped me.
okay, so during that 5 period, you're saying you didn't make much money. So did you pay the employees much as well? Were they getting a normal salary compared to
uh,
you?
yeah, I see. Now I can write a book on that. Okay, why my startup failed. Okay, see, I started my startup in my hometown. Okay. So this is not a really big city compared to the Bangalore and Mumbai and Delhi. Okay. So earlier what I thought is this will be my plus point because it's a small city compared to the metro cities. So it will be really easy to make big company in this city, but eventually that became my minus point. I tell you why. Because what happened is when I started my company and I put it the job openings over here, there was no any single gaming studio. Okay, so I was not getting any really good game developers. Okay, so eventually what I have to do is I have to hire the freshers. Okay, and after that I need to train them. So a lot of time I went into that. Okay, so instead of here, if I started into the big city, then I will be able to find the good resources. Okay, so time will be saved. So I need to pay them less because they were freshers and all, but that impact me in another way.
Okay. And so this game studio that you created, was that all physical or did that have remote elements to it? Because that
No,
would be
no, it
frustrating.
was physical.
Okay.
I like purchased the proper office. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you had office space and equipment
Yeah.
like laptops, computers, mobile
Yes, yes.
devices for
Yeah, it was a
testing.
big investment. It was a really big investment.
Okay, okay.
My
So
father helped me into that, and my sales also I added into that. I had done proper, like I hired the architect for office interior. Everything
mhm.
was really
Okay.
perfect. If you Google it, na, my company, then you will find the old photos of my company. It was really small office, but it was good environment. Yeah.
Okay. And would you say after all that, do you think you lost money or do you think you made a bit of money personally from that endeavor?
Uh, so physically, I did not make money. Okay, but that my startup experience is helping me now.
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
So currently, whatever I do have experience, okay, from everything, like because see, I run my own studio, so I know how the advertisement framework works. So because I was implementing for my clients and everything. I at that time I came to know how games we should push to Apple and Google. So I do have all the experience. Okay, from like creating the wireframe to managing ongoing projects to everything. Okay, so I can be a really good at like managing the teams. Like I can work on a technical manager level or something like that.
Okay. And how did your family, feel and find that 5 year period when you was
Oh,
doing
they
your own
supported
studio?
really well. They supported really well in
Yeah,
terms
because
of everything. Yeah,
a lot of hours. You're obviously not earning as much as you could
yeah,
be if you go and work for a
Be-
studio. So,
yeah.
how did you feel like having a family? Obviously, your child wasn't born then, but you're still married. And you have a family, and that you feel like. Did you feel like, oh, I should, go back and to a studio, earn more money, and do this for my family, or was it okay? Like, how did you feel about that
Uh,
during those 5 years?
so my parents was really helpful in terms of everything. Okay, like mentally and uh, from like money as well. So there were some days like I will be frustrated because of maybe after 2 days I have to give salaries to my employees, but I didn't have sufficient balance into my company's account. Okay, and I was waiting for some payment from clients, but they didn't came, right? So I will be really frustrated. And but my when I came just go to home, my mom will say, okay, don't worry, something will come up, you should be relaxed, you are doing your job right. So everything will come out. So they are really helpful in terms of everything. And they already gone through all this stuff, okay, before, because uh, they didn't have anything when they started. Okay, but they made their life really better. Okay, so in a way they are like trying to convincing me as well. So, and when I started my company, I was not married. When I started my company, after almost 2 years after that, I got married. Okay, so my wife was also supportive, and I told her before, okay, that I started my company, anything can be happen, like one game hit, and we will be sitting in a mansion, and it can go another way around. Okay, so she was really helpful. And she is a beautician. Okay, so I was not earning, but she was earning. Okay, so we used to watch movies and getting dinners by her only. Okay, so um, but there that peak point came, after five and a half year. Okay, because even I was not growing personally. Okay, and even financial was also the problem. So I thought, now this is the time to take a break. Okay, if I need to start, I might start after again 5 years, 10 years. Okay, but this is the time to take a break, because I was not gaining any new knowledge. The money was also not coming. Okay, and even by clients project, like it's really hard, because let's say I'm charging $100 for a project. Just I'm giving you the example, okay, but that should cost more. Let's say that project cost around $300, but to for the sake, like, okay, once the client will connect with me, they will like my work. After that, I can increase the payment for the next project, right? But once we do the project for $100, okay, so for the next project they will come and they will say, okay, now you already done for this for me $100, right? Now do it for the 75. Okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
go the
so
opposite way. You think they're
yeah,
gonna go up, but then they go. I know I've had that all before, or they're like, oh, can you do this for free? Because it's a
yeah,
small thing, this little maintenance thing, and you want to say
yes.
no, but you feel bad, and you say yes.
Yes, and after every year I need to give hike to employees and all that, right? So the
Mm.
expenses was going high and high, and the income was going, the day by day less. So I tried my best, but anyhow, today what I think is like, if I did not started my own company at that time. I was doing job at some another company. So whatever the experience I do have today, the knowledge whatever I have today, that will not be the same. That is for sure, sure and sure. Because I done everything on in that 5 years. Okay, I tried almost every engine. I tried like backend engine as well. Okay, so yeah.
Okay. And do you ever think about starting your own studio again, or would you like to go back to that if it became more feasible? Maybe if you got, an investment from, an investment firm, or you got some big, client deal, or, you was confident that you could, make a game that was able to generate some more money. So do you want to go back, or are you happy
Uh,
working
Not
for a
anytime
studio?
soon.
Not
Not
anytime
anytime
soon.
soon. Yeah, not for money and all that, but uh, in that 5 years, now what I lived, now, like at least next 5 to 10 years, I want to do a job. Okay, and when I say job, that doesn't mean like 9 to 5 only. Okay, it could be anything like, but it should be a challenging and all that. Okay, what matters for me is the experience and knowledge. Okay, so whenever I had taken the decision to switch, now the point was always the the knowledge and experience. Even for my own startup, I decided to like take a break because of that point. That okay, I am not gaining anything right now because I was the top person in my company. There was no anybody else that I can take the knowledge from him or her.
Of course.
Yeah, and that is really helpful because let's say if today I'm saying I do have 12 years of experience, but when we put that in terms of practical, is that worth it, right? That is also a matter, right?
Of
um,
course.
yeah.
Okay. And obviously we connected in the Cocos forums, in Cocos
Yeah,
2DX forums. So what connection do you have with the Cocos forums and the Cocos community? Because so far you haven't mentioned Cocos 2DX
yeah.
or Cocos Creator.
uh, so when I was in Gameloft, okay,
Yes.
2010, I just joined the company, and I think two months or 3 months passed. Okay, uh, so my seniors told me at that time they were already having 6 years of experience, 7 years of experience at that time, 2010. They told me that okay, new framework has came, like it's called Cocos 2DX, and it's totally open source. So they told me to download it, and they give me brief idea. So plan was that to because we used to work on C++ only in the Gameloft. Okay, but Gameloft we cannot like make a game inside Gameloft for our private use, right? We cannot use their engines and tools because Gameloft had made lot of tools in house. Okay, that we cannot use to make our private games. So what they wanted to do is like they were finding some tools to start the like because at that time the Android was very new, 2010, right? iPhone came 2 years back, but Android was very new. So this framework was giving the output of Android and iOS as well. So my seniors told me that try this framework, and within 5 minutes you can make the APK build. Once you have the APK, try to build some demos in this, and after that we will see what we can do. So that was the very first time I came to know about the Cocos framework. Okay, so I started learning that from 2010, but didn't like get into much. But I can say I think after 2013 or 14, I dig into more. Okay, and I started making games. I even started taking the projects for like freelancing projects for the same. Okay, and Yeah, and Cocos creator. So if you already know, right, they stop giving the updates for Cocos Studio X C++.
Hmm.
So and they are focusing more on the Cocos creator. So I was looking into the creator from last 3 4 years, but at that time it was not that much mature that we can develop games. But last 1.5 year, it's quite mature now. So we switched to that. That framework. So currently, my new game we are working on Cocos Creator only. My previous game that was Call Break that was developed on Cocos Studio X C++.
Okay. So how are you finding Cocos Creator versus Cocos 2DX? What would you say are the pros and cons of both?
Um, so uh, it depends. Okay, so the pros is definitely big list from my point of view. I used Cocos Studio X C++. I can say like um, from last 10 years, right? So I know everything about the Cocos Studio C++,
Mhm.
and I started Creator using from last 2 years. So the difference is like you will get editor like Unity, right? So it makes lot of things easier. Okay, so if you are working on a complex games, okay, the industry level game, whatever you will achieve in 30, sorry, yeah, whatever you achieve in 30 days in Coco Studio X C++, I will guarantee you that you will make the same game in 5 days only in Cocos Create. Okay. I will give you the idea why is it so. First of all, it gives you the GUI editor, okay, uh, which will like become very easy to creating the pop-ups and everything. Like you can make very precise and perfect because when you work on a company, what artist will give you the mock-ups and everything, right? That how this is how the pause menu should look. This is how the setting menu should look. Even one pixel cannot go up and down. It should be
Mhm.
pixel perfect, right? So by code it will take a lot of times, okay, but by editor it will be very easy. And again we can create prefabs on all that. And when we are creating games on very early stage, okay, art will change a lot of times. Okay, so if you had created prefabs and all that now, so it will be really easy to if something like some pngs change in asset folder, that will not affect to your code and everything because everything will be dynamic and all that. Also there are safe area component and widget components are there, so that will help you for the multi resolution and as well as for handling the notch. Okay, the iphone notch and android notch. Also no doubt, for c++ I already created my own wrappers and all that. Okay, but not everybody can do that, right? Not the fresher level developer can create such wrapper classes. So it will be really helpful for like the new generation to start directly on the creator. The major drawback for creator is like you cannot code in C++. So like in C++, we can easily handle some things through macros, right? Like let's say you want to execute such a few codes into iOS platform only, okay, and particular code you want to execute for Android only, then you can easily handle through macros. So if you handle through macros, then those code will not go into the another platform. But in Creator, that is not possible. You can manage through booleans and all that, but code still there will be code in the binaries. Okay, and it's totally free, and they already mentioned that it will always be free. They will make sure they will earn through some other departments, but they will not be paid license for that. And if you go to the in details, then I can give you a lot of other points as well. Like the asset bundle is a really plus point. Okay, you can let's say you have inventory system. Okay, you want to give some dynamic You want to, let's say your game goes live today, and it has inventory system, and you want to push new elements, then by asset bundling you can easily handle such things, animation component is there, then even you can create small 3D games really easily. Okay, the HTML5 is a plus point if you want to dig into that. Another thing will be the emulator. Okay, so the latest release, the 3.6, you can like check the live. Suppose you are creating nodes at the runtime, then you can check all the details in editor only. So there are a lot of plus points are there, but yeah. If you want lightweight, then of course the Coco Studio X has a plus point for that. The size will be very less and performance will be again good compared to the creator. But again, every company needs to think from all the point of views. They also need to think from their investor point of view, and so yeah.
Of course. Like, have you come across the Cocos 2DX sort of port core fork? I mean, should say, called AXYS Axis.
Uh, yeah, so I heard about that and I tried that in past. So again, see, if I'm working individually, then I can think about that. Okay, I can use that because there is no guarantee of updates and everything, right? Like, uh, suppose let's say this Coco Studio X framework was dead 5 years back, okay, 6 years back, when there was no notch, right? And after that Apple introduced the notch. Okay, then there is no guarantee that those third party like developers will give the support to such big feature, right? And even that will be feasible or not. So let's say after 1 year 2 years some big change will came, whether that will be supported by that branch or not, there is no guarantee. So if you are working individually, then you can think about that. But when you are working on a big company or in like, then we have to think all the ways, right? Because let's say we started one game today, then that might take 1 year 2 year to complete it, and within those 2 years if something bad happens, then that will affect the company, right? Because there will be like 10 20 people are working on the same project, so money will be wasted and all that. So uh, whenever somebody asks me about such things, I told them that if you are working individually, then you can think about it, you can use it. But if you are asking for a company, okay, then you should think proper engine that will last at least 5 years. Okay, so you can think about Unity and now the creator as well. Even Godot is doing really good from last 1 year 2 year. That is also good.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you wish you knew when you started, your development journey that you know now?
Um, Not much because for me the plus point was like my first job was in Gameloft. Okay, so when I joined the Gameloft, before that I didn't know that okay, game producers exist, game artist exist. Okay,
Hmm.
game designer and game artist is a two separate thing. Okay, I didn't know that, but when I joined, within a month I got all this knowledge. Okay, so. Of course, that was like 12 years ago. But if somebody is starting today, then what they should do is like, uh, what I will suggest that at least do a job in a proper gaming studio for at least 2 years. Okay. So in those 2 years, you will get everything. Okay. And after that, you can decide what you want to do. That will be my advice. And again, that advice is for like how the gaming studio works, and another will be like for coding point of view. you should be really good at the logic part because that's what matter. Because if I don't know some math equations, I can easily Google it. I will find it, right? But I should know that okay, this math equation I should use, right? So that part you should know. So make demos as much as you can make. Okay, and for gaming industry, I will definitely suggest to take job in gaming studio, proper gaming studio for one set list. After that, you can, if you want to be indie developer, you can. Okay. Uh, I tell you one more thing. When I was in Gameloft, okay, so in Gameloft we used to use a lot of tools, okay, but all those tools was developed inside Gameloft only. Okay, for everything, like for animation and for multi-resolution, everything they made tool. They hired tool developers for that only. So their job was to every day to enhance those tools and to make new tools. So by that I came to know, okay, we can do this as well. So for particular game, let's say you want to develop bubble shooter game, okay, then you can make your own tool for level designing as well. Okay, so that was really helped me to like uh, think out of the box. Okay, so if you are making any kind of game, any puzzle game, anything, you can make your own tool for like for your game designer, and you can give that, and there will be two buttons for loading the files and exporting the files. So whatever, once they design the level, they can export it, and it's the same file you can add inside your asset folder. Okay, so before this means if I didn't join the Gameloft, I was not able to think all those things. Okay, so um, basically, make your own tools and make your own rules. It's
Mhm.
not if you are getting what you want, okay, then just go for it. It's not something that you should follow the others. Okay, I what in this generation, a new generation, I saw like they were trying to Google it. Okay, how these things work, but it's not always like that. You can make your own things. If performance is okay, then okay, go ahead. It's not like, okay, what that particular XYZ studio is using. It's not that, okay, you should use the same tool for achieving the same result. Okay, so to think that point of view, you need to go, do a job at least once in a proper gaming studio. So after that, you can, get the idea.
Okay. And do you ever regret becoming a developer and not doing something else?
No, 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 never.
No.
Never. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Simple answer for
oh,
that one.
yeah, my like I always find that I'm really good at managing the time, but still I think that if I get some more time, then I can learn some more things and I can do some extra stuffs and all that.
Of course.
So only uh, think about the time only. Okay, I now I do have my son as well, so I need to spend some time with him and all that. So it's really become very hard to spare some time to learn some new stuffs and all that.
Okay. And what do you hate about being a developer?
Hate.
Or dislike, if hate is too strong of a word. There must be certain parts of it that you don't like.
Um, Nothing much because see, I am really core developer, by heart. Okay, so it's not something that I can tell that okay, I don't like this or
Mhm.
something like that. Yeah, I can tell you when I was a senior developer, okay, in Hangama, um, there were like 13 juniors in my team. Okay, so I need to develop my game and I need to take care of the 13 juniors as well. Okay, and I was very happy. I was able to handle all those 13 different games and I was able to create my own game as well. Okay, so I can handle pressure and everything. So it's not a big deal. But it's not the same thing for maybe everybody. But for me, I like everything like coding. So what I normally do is, suppose let's say I'm starting any new module today. Okay, from the day one, I will not start the coding and everything. First, I will create proper flow chart and I will decide the architect level code and everything. And after that, I will create small modules. And after that, I will inject the big module in between that and all that. So I like doing all those stuffs. Yeah.
Okay. And if you could work on any product, past, present, or future, what would it be?
Definitely, it will be like creating a framework for a multiplayer game, like common module, okay, kind
Okay.
of Photon. But if you ever used the Photon, they created in a very complex way. Their pricing and all that was very confusing, and even they are not providing database. Like if somebody is creating the multiplayer game, then there should be a backend database, right? So what I want to create is like one product that is like someone can use it for multiplayer games. So it will provide everything like the socket programming and database, everything at one place only. And like you just log in it and the database will be also created and the socket connection should be established. And along with that, the developer should get proper admin panel and everything. I tried that when I was in my company, but didn't succeed because I was lack of funding for that. But yeah, maybe someday.
Okay. It seems like you're very passionate about tools,
Yeah,
engine, backend stuff, and
yeah,
like you say, developer panels. Basically, enhancing the experience of making the game. I feel like you enjoy making the game, but you also really enjoy making the tools to make the game, optimizing them, making
yeah.
new ones, updating them. Because I know some people like don't want to mess around with tools and they want the least amount of hassle to make the game as possible. But it seems like you really enjoy the tool aspect. Have you always been like that, or was there some part in your career that made you focus more on tools and you started to love the process of making tools more than maybe? Would it be fair to say that you love making the tools more than like making the games?
Both I can say, but what I will say is you should work smartly, right?
Hmm.
Uh, let's say if I am creating some game today, okay, now today I had completed that. Now after 6 months, I need to create the game similar only. Okay, then I should have some tool that should be help in when I was working on the same kind of game the second time. I do have, if I have some tool that will make me easy, then it is good, right? And what we can do is like we can create tool in such a way that we can use on some other games as well. Let's say I created tool for encryption of assets. Okay, so that will help in all over the games, right? So what my point is like, you should work smartly. Uh, if you get the output what you are looking for, that's not enough. Okay, yeah, if you have really junior level of experience, then it's a different thing. But if you want to achieve big, if you want to become the lead developer, okay, then you have to think from all the perspective. Um, let's say you are using the third party tools. Okay, now when you are in the company need to take the license and all that, right? And if you know that the license for individuals and license for corporate is different. Okay, when the same tool will cost you more than 10 times or 20 times in some scenarios for if it's a company, right? So we have to think from all the way. If we spend just by 1 week, 2 week, we can create the same tool in house, then we should create in house only. Okay, that's what I thought. And that is, I'm thinking this way because of Gameloft only, because I saw these things in Gameloft. So that's why maybe my thinking goes this way only. And that doesn't mean we don't use any third party tools. Okay, we do use, but depending, if you think that company spent 2 years, 4 years for making that tool, okay, use it directly. Okay, but if you think they are providing 100 features, but we just want 5 features only, and those 5 features we can easily develop in house, then do it in house. Okay, and that will give you, some maybe like uh, complex and everything, but eventually that will help you in a lot of ways. And once you know everything about that tool, means you had created that your own tool, so you will get everything. Means let's say today some new requirement came, and you want to achieve the same new requirement by your own tool, then you will know like how you want to modify that tool. It will be very easy. Okay, let's say you created your own tool for platforms, or like platformer game, then it will be really easy to, like you want to attach spring or anything, it will be really easy. So depending on the requirement and depending on the timeline as well. Okay, so yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I mean that makes sense. 'Cause obviously, you was exposed to it in Gameloft. That was one of your first. It was your
Yeah.
first, job. So that's gonna be very formative in
Eh,
how you think. Because obviously, like you're saying, Gameloft was very let's
yeah,
make our own tools.
let me tell you a really interesting story about the Gameloft. Okay, this is really funny. And so um, when I applied in Gameloft, okay, me and my friend, we both applied. And after a couple of days, the HR from the company replied. Okay, and they gave us one small game to build. Okay,
Hmm.
and they asked us to develop this game in 2 days and submit back via email, and after that we will go ahead. Okay, so in 2 days, I complete the game and submitted it. My friend also completed it, he submitted it. Okay, after 1 week, he got call from the Gameloft. Okay, he went for the interview. He cracked it. He got the job. After 1 week, he joined the Gameloft. I didn't get call. Okay, now it's almost 1 month. So that friend told me that, okay, call the HR, na, ask her like what happened. I said okay. So I called the HR, like I submitted one game. So she just checked and said, no, you are not selected. And I said, okay. So I hang up. And uh, when I submitted this game, na, before that, I took 6 months of training. Okay, at Gateway Technolabs. Okay, so in that training, I got in gaming only. So at that time, the J2ME was a big thing, right? The Nokia gaming and all that, Siemens. Okay, so I do have 6 months of experience. So I took advantage of that, and I created really good game in that 2 days. So after 1 week, she replied via email that we did not take your interview because we find out that you copied your game from internet, and we are looking for really good developers, not somebody who copied from the internet and blah blah blah. So I got very angry, and I replied her in a really bad way. Okay, because I did not copy, right? I created my own, right? So I replied her that because I'm talking about 2010, and I was not having that much experience. So
Mhm.
I replied everything, like, see, if you're seeing this background, if you search in Google Images, this thing in third row, first column, you will find this image. So I taken from that. Okay. But for code and everything, I had written my own. If you want, call me for interview and ask me to build any game. I will develop in front of you and blah, blah, blah. Write in the email. The second day, I got call from the HR that sorry Smith for such email. Anyhow, we want to take your interview. I said okay. So I was very happy. Okay, my email worked and all that. So next day I go for the interview. Okay, so I before that I asked my friend like what they are asking in the interview. Okay, so he told me that only two rounds will be there. One will be the technical round and second round will be the HR round. I said okay. So when I went there, some lead came and he gave me one desk, okay, and he gave me one game. He gave me 2 hours, okay, and he asked me to develop one game over there. And in a very sarcasm manner, he told me that you can create any game, right? Okay, so let's create this game in 2 hours. So after that, I realized, oh, so they didn't believe me, but they want to take my taste and they gave me a game to build that. But like I hardly take 1.5 hours, okay, and I developed game over there. And the funny thing was, uh, um, uh, like for J2ME, normally at that time everybody used NetBeans and Eclipse for the same, but they didn't give me that. They told me to develop game in Notepad only, okay, in Windows, inbuilt Notepad, right? Because he told me in a very sarcasm way that you know how to code and all that, right? So develop in Notepad only. But I was ready for even that as well because uh, when I normally code before that, in college, so we normally use Notepad only. So I was ready for that. So I just within 1.5 hour I developed that game. So after that, he was very happy because once he found out, okay, I was very genuine about it. So after that, he took me into the meeting room and taken the proper technical round and then the HR round. And after that, I got the job, my very first job.
I mean, I mean, that is definitely a unique story. So, after doing that, and obviously doing other interviews, what's your opinion on the interview process for companies and developers? Do you think it's a good interview process? Do you think it helps get good employees, or do you think it's not good enough and it could be better?
So my style of taking interview is completely different compared to the others. I don't like the normal ways of other companies taking the interview. Okay, when I started my company, Surja Gaming Studio, right? When I used to take interviews, after that, uh, whoever came for the interview, they will feel very happy that, sir, we didn't give such kind of interviews in our life. I am very happy that this kind of interview is also possible because sometimes what happens, in interview they ask questions which doesn't matter at all, like asking some some very complex mathematical things.
Mm,
So what I do is like I divide into two parts. Okay. First part will be depending on like for what role we are hiring, whether he is a fresher or whether he or she has having junior level of experience or senior or lead. Okay. So based on that, I will decide what first round need to be. Okay. So let's say we are hiring for Cocos or Creator or Unity. So my first round will be dedicated to that only. Okay, because if we are hiring for particular game engine, how much he knows about that matters for me. Okay, if he or she can complete complex algorithms and all that, but if he or she is having 4 years experience, but if they don't know how to do a simple things, then that's does not matter, um, again, when I work, what I usually do is I create my own templates. Okay, so when we usually hire new employees under my team, what I do is I normally train them for how to use my own templates and everything. So that template will consist everything like how we should handle the UI multi-resolution, how you want to show the pop-ups and all that. So that will become very easy. In-app purchase and advertising frameworks and all that will be written earlier only. Okay, so I train them how to use that. So that does not matter. Anyone will come into my team within 1 month. They will know how this all these complex things works. So for me, what I need is like if he or she is having 4 years of experience, does that value that? Okay, that matters. Okay, sometimes what happens that somebody is really good at maths and all that, but still they cannot divide, big model into small chunks. They don't know what is path finding algorithm. Okay, okay, maybe you had not used it, but you should know it, right? You should know A star algorithms. So that matters. Okay, how such algorithms works. They don't know what is one-way platform. Okay, so that such things matters. Okay, so my way of taking interviews totally different compared to others, but gaming is really different in IT. Okay, so we can think this way, but for yeah applications and they need to think from other point of view. That's a different case.
Okay. And what's your opinion on coding interviews? Like you have 1 hour, 2 hours, like how you had 3 hours to do something, or even if you just get given the task and you have a couple of days to do it. Because obviously, when you're,
Yeah,
so I've done interviews before, and the interviewers asking this question or which, you know,
yeah,
type or what thing you would use from this language. And the reality is, if you're a good enough developer in the language, if you don't know that thing, you just Google it. Like, you'll Google it 5 seconds, you'll be like, okay, I'll use that one. I use a map or I use a list. Like,
yeah.
because you forget things. So it's not always possible to know that. Oh, you've got to use that particular type in that moment. As long as you're comfortable to use it, in my opinion, is it's kind of a redundant. You know, coding interviews can be kind of redundant. What do you think?
So I normally avoid that. Okay, but sometimes if somebody is on a very fresher level, then I might give them to create some small game. Okay,
Okay.
not for output, but uh, to check how they follow the like architect, like how they are creating different scripts, how they are creating different class. Okay, how he's communicating with different objects. Okay, how he's taking care of node pool if that requires. Okay, so to just get the idea of how he or she's thinking about some like tedious task. Okay, so to get the idea of that, that is okay, but not for if somebody is applying for senior level and lead level, then I will avoid that because I don't think that is necessary. But if somebody is in a junior level or fresher level, then I do think that will help us to evaluate like how his logic things, so yeah.
Okay. And yeah, so I'll go move on to the next question because I think we've talked about
Yeah,
interviews a fair bit. I think we've covered that.
yeah,
What careers did you think about as an alternative growing up? Because obviously, when you were a child, I'm guessing you wasn't thinking I definitely want to be a game developer.
yeah. So I never thought of anything, to be very honest. Okay, I was very medium guy, like I was okay in studying. I was not very low, not very high in studying. Okay, I was very okay. And you won't believe, like I didn't know how to turn on the computer or turn off the computer when I came to the 12th class. Okay. So when I came into the 12th standard, after that I came to know,
How
okay,
old was you in 12th class? Because obviously I'm in the UK.
16-year old.
16 years. Okay. So,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, we would call that year 11. So you're very similar. Okay.
Yeah,
So you
because
also,
we never had computer in our home. Okay,
okay.
and in our schools we used to learn computer, but that was like very basics, like paint and all that. That's it. And also paint is like our teacher will open paint and everything. Okay, we just need to sit on the computer, and after that we need to create the picture and all that. So we didn't know how to open the paint, close paint. We don't know what is Windows, Linux. Okay. So when I came to the 12th standard, we bought computer in our home. After that, I learned, okay, this is what computer is. So at that time I learned html and all that, and after that I was going into the college, and I had couple of months before that, and one of my relatives told me, you are going into engineering, right? I said yes. So learn c++, he told me. Okay, I didn't know what is c++. Okay, but that relative told me c++, that will help you if you go to any branch. I said okay, and I took that very seriously. Okay, and I started learning that, and on social forums in Orkut, and I was helping other at that time and also learning. And so from there, my journey began.
Okay. And do you have a dream company to work at? Why and why would you like to work there?
uh, Currently no. Okay, but any company I'm open to work, but only thing is they should be really serious about the gaming. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
uh, yeah, uh,
Oh,
that's
okay.
it.
So, yeah. So you kind of touched on this in the previous to last question. And like, do you have any family members or close family friends that are developers, and how did that influence your decision to become one? You briefly touched on you had a relative that said learn C++. Do you have any other ones, or how did like what does that particular family member do as well, like in
Yeah,
software
so
programming?
uh, he was not close relative. Okay, he was very uh, uh, I can say like uh, uh, someone was I knew. Okay, so she was like marrying him at that time. Okay,
Okay.
and on marriage function, we she just introduced me. Okay, and I told that now I'm going into the engineering. So he was already into the IT firm. Okay, so he just told me that, okay, just learn C++, that will help you in many ways. I said okay. And I didn't have anything to do for 2 months, 3 months, okay, before joining the college. So I started in it. But after that, from like my families, there is no one like who is into developing. But from my college, my like because everybody is from IT, so like I have like 10 close friends. Okay, so all are into developing only, but none are into gaming. Or
No, not
everybody
into
is into
gaming.
non-gaming only. Yeah, but I
Okay.
do have friends from like my from X companies and all that.
Okay. Are you into gaming yourself? I'd assume the answer is yes, but are you? And what games do you? What are some of your favorite games? And what games are you currently playing?
So normally I like puzzle kind of games, okay, and platformer games, personally. For some reason, I don't know, but puzzle and platformer games are like I always loved it. And Currently, I'm still playing Clash Royale. Angry Birds still I used to play. Yeah.
Remember Angry Birds? I remember when those games like Angry Birds, Doodle Jump, like those games came out.
Oh,
It
Doodle Jump,
was
yeah. That was
yeah,
my, yeah.
oh yeah,
Mm,
trying to get the high score on that, or Temple Run or Subway Surfer. It's the first time we had access to games easily anywhere. I know we had PSP, DS, but it wasn't the
yeah.
same thing. Plus, you could have a 30-second gaming session, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like the game would launch really fast. You could be in the game within 30
Yeah.
seconds from taking it out of your pocket. And
Yeah.
that was an insane thing at the time. And like, or if you was on the train, you could like spend a couple of minutes, play a bit of Doodle Jump, play a bit of Flappy Bird, one of those other, or Angry Birds, or one of those other games. So yeah, I mean, I remember
So
those games.
when I was in Gameloft, they had one department for devices. Okay,
Hmm.
because we used to port the game for Android, right? So if you remember, in that era, what big companies is used to do is like let's say HTC. Okay, so they are in launching new mobile today. Okay, so if you are purchasing that mobile, then you will find some inbuilt games of Gameloft. Okay, so that means before launching that mobile, they will collaborate with Gameloft, right? So we will develop that those games. So we will have early access of such mobiles even before 6 months. Okay, so we like we had that hardware department. So we go into that and we can ask like which new device came. So we'll get the early access and like we will try like in some heavy high-end devices we are playing doodle jump and all that.
Hmm.
And so yeah.
Yeah, because obviously back then I remember each new generation of the iPhone or new, Android phone, you got noticeable speed improvements in the games.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I remember like the home screen was faster. I remember from 3G. I had iPhone 3G,
Yeah.
and my uncle had the 3GS, and I remember using it, and I was like, "Oh, it's so much faster." The camera was noticeably better. The game, because on mine,
Yes.
Modern Combat didn't run that. I mean, Nova and Modern Combat didn't run that well.
Yeah.
So I remember playing it on my uncle's 3GS, and I'm thinking, "Oh my god, how smooth this is!" So yeah,
Yeah.
obviously back then,
Because we
each new
used to
one.
work a lot of hard even for iPhones. Like sometimes what happens that the main core development team, they will create the game. Okay, but it might not be smooth. Okay,
Mhm.
so the another team will work on the performance. Okay, let's say I also worked on some portation for iPad. Okay, so I will make sure that game will run properly for iPad and all that. So proper team used to work on particular one device. Okay, so let's say after that that 4S came, so there will be one particular team who will work and make sure that okay, our all the games are working fine for 4S and 5 and 5S. Okay, so we used to like create different assets for all the different models. Okay, and that will be uploaded into one server, and when the game launch, our logic will decide okay, this is the source we need to download. And so we used to code all those things, and we used to implement DRM modules, okay, for hacking and like stopping the piracy and all that. I still remember my first game was Nova 2. Okay, so when I joined Gameloft, I used to work for the 2D games for like 6 months, and after 6 months, I promoted to 3D games. Okay, so when I switched to 3D games, my first game was the Nova 2. So we worked really hard for, let's say, if I remember correctly, for like 3 4 months. Okay, and last 45 days was so hectic. Like we used to like uh, afternoon around 2 o'clock we came, and we will work whole night, and in morning 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock we will go home. Again 2 o'clock we will come. Like that we worked around 45 days. Okay, after that game launched. Okay, so around at night 2 o'clock the game was pushed to live. We were happy, we go to home, we sleep, and 2 o'clock we came back, and my producer called me. Okay, and I when I reached him, he told me that, see Smith, your game Nova 2 is yeah, the pirated APK is available on this site. I was got so scared. I thought maybe they will blame me that I gave something to someone,
Hmm.
that's why it's cracked or something. So he was very like cooperative, that don't scared, this is really normal, all our games are getting pirated within 2 4 hours. So it's not something that you I'm not blaming you, I'm just telling you that your game is available as a free, because all those games were like paid at that time, the
I
game was,
remember
right?
they were like five
Yeah,
ninety nine. Like that
yeah,
was like in the UK that was that price, six
yeah,
pound, and or like Angry Birds was I think fifty nine
yeah.
p, or when they increased it to 69p and then seventy nine
So
p.
I was like, we spent our last almost 1 month, 2 months for this DRM module, and those guys like got cracked it in just couple of hours. Then what's the point of implementing it? And how they are doing it?
Mm.
So
It's insane the way they
yeah, so
cracked it.
that also helped me, those things like how, like, at least some that college students should not be able to crack it out, and how we should avoid it. And so that also I learned over there. And even after that, when I started my own company, I really worked hard on that particular module. Like, when we are in especially multiplayer games also, no, it's really uh, complex things to handle, like the communication between the client and server, that needs to be encrypted in such a way that the it should not increase the load of the server, and a lot of things matter. So I learned a lot of things in those 5 years.
Of course, that's good. And like, what's your opinion on DRM these days? Because I find that there's so many games that I go to play, like especially on PC or even on
Mm,
console, and
mm,
it'll
mm,
be a single player game, but I
mm,
need online connection for
mm.
DRM purposes, and it's sometimes
Yeah.
so annoying. When I'm literally just want to play 20 minutes of a single player game, and I'm spending 10-15 minutes just to try and sign in to an account that I can't remember the password for, and they're going making me jump through all these hoops, or you need to reactivate it because after a month the token expires, even though it's an offline game. So, like, what's your opinion on that sort of DRM stuff? Do you think it's gone too far?
Uh, so if you talk about offline games, then yeah, I think we should avoid it. Okay. See, basically, uh, uh, whoever is the like project manager or the product manager, okay, he need to think from all the points, right? If company is spending some fortune amount of money into a particular one project, okay, for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and after that that game is goes live, and the crack version will be available for free, okay, so that will impact the company, okay, for sure. So they need to think from all the point of view, okay. So what my suggestion will be, first is, what is your game type? If it's a multiplayer game, then definitely without internet user will not be able to play it, right? So you can implement these online restriction for such games, the no big deal, okay. After that, if it's not a multiplayer game, but still it's a online game, okay, like you are managing the players progress into your backend, still you can implement it, but don't force to the user for each time. So what you can do is, you can keep track. like this user like logged in like when he logged in last time. So let's give him like 7 days of buffer. If he is not turning internet on for 7 days, then ask him, if you want to play still, if you want to still play this game, please turn on the internet for once, and for next 7 days still he can play offline. So think from both point of view. A company is spending a lot of money, okay, and believe me, when somebody is creating game, they need to spend 3 times more money into the marketing as well, because nowadays marketing is very 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 important. Okay, without marketing you cannot survive in this area. Okay, if you check the Supercell, okay, they have 2 3 big games, but still they are spending a lot of millions of dollars every year for for their games into advertisement. Okay, so if Supercell need to spend money, then definitely everybody needs to spend some money for marketing, right? So it's a really a big thing. So piracy, and to avoid all those things, we need to think from all the point of
Of course.
view.
And would you ever switch careers?
Yeah. Uh, like I can quit uh, coding part, okay, but I will not quit gaming. Okay, so when I say I can quit gaming, quit coding, that means I want to be a like some technical engineer or technical manager level. So over there like 20-30% coding, and rest will be like managing the architect and managing
Hmm.
the teams and all that. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for in near future.
Okay,
Okay.
but you're not looking, or you wouldn't consider going to a non-gaming company. You want to stick with
Yeah,
gaming.
not for like in near future for sure. Maybe after 10-20 years, maybe like something related to graphics or hardware, maybe. Because my one of the friend, he was with me in the Gameloft. Okay, so he's still good friend with me. Currently, he's in UK. Okay, last year he switched to UK for ERM. He joined ERM. Before that, he was working for Qualcomm. Okay, so he's
Okay.
working on the like OpenGL level of work. So
Hmm.
maybe something related to that. Uh, yeah, but not in
Okay.
near future for sure.
Okay. And do you code outside of work? How do you find that? And do you enjoy it as much when you was running your own studio?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Okay, I was asking, do you code and make games outside of, your day job? How do you
Uh,
find that process if you do it? And do you enjoy it as much when you was running your own business and there was no outside stuff because it was all, your stuff?
Not currently, because currently I didn't have time for
Mm-hmm.
doing extra job and all that. But before I used to do that, and I was doing that not for money, but for gaining my knowledge. Okay, because sometimes what happens that your daily job life now that will not give you much experience which some might the third party project will give you, so because of that I used to take a lot of freelancing projects before, and like every weekend I used to work on some freelancing projects, and that really helped me in my past for like uh, getting a lot of connections and getting knowledge as well, trying out new frameworks for multiplayer, and a lot of things. Yeah.
Okay. And did you go to university? And what did you study if you did go?
So I done my engineering in information technology. Okay, so that was like 4 year of term. So I learned like a lot of languages over there, and I learned AI basics of AI because we had one subject for that. And in my engineering course, in last semester, we had to take internship for 6 months. Okay, so that internship I taken into the Gateway Technolabs, and I got the gaming project over there. So that helped me to get the Gameloft job. So
Okay,
I can say I was lucky.
you was lucky. Okay, and would you personally recommend university to other people, or do you
Yeah, yeah,
recommend
of
doing
course. Yes,
projects?
yes.
Okay, you
That
would.
is, yeah, that is necessary because see, uh, someone cannot be a good developer on a single day or by uh, like learning for a month or 2 months. Okay. So what I mean by is that the logic is very important. Okay, if you know, if you don't know, so let's say you don't know the Python. Okay, today you started learning the Python. You will learn within a couple of months. Okay, but that's a different thing, and logic part is a different thing. Okay, so to get the you're good at logics and all that stuff, this 4 years degree will really help you. And also this 4 year degree, in that time you can think about like what you are really good at. Okay, whether you are really good at uh, coding, logic, testing, or other department, management. Okay, so in that time you can think about like how you want to proceed further. So yeah, that was my point.
Okay, and what myths about programming did you have before getting a job, or previously before now?
Uh, so like uh, once you get job, like you don't need to do anything else. You don't need to learn anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Education finished basically after university. A lot of
Yeah.
people feel like that, but your real education you find finishes.
Yes.
I mean, starts
So
when you
yeah,
finish your normal, your formal education.
yeah. But it's exactly the opposite because in our industry, you have to keep learning the new things.
Hmm.
So if I talk about myself, then I started from J2ME era, right? After that, I developed, I ported games from iOS to Android. I worked for Dish TV, platforms. I worked for, after that, I started with Android. I also worked for HTML5. So yeah, a lot of platforms changed. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe after 5 years, some new platforms.
Yeah. Okay. So with all those changes, how do you personally keep up with the latest trends, advances, and programming languages? That are always coming up. There's always some new language from either a
Yeah,
small company or like from Google. With like Kotlin or Flutter. Introducing new stuff. How do you keep on top of it, and how do you personally manage? You know, spending time on it versus not doing your regular stuff and just going crazy on advancements but never progressing in the core stuff.
yeah. So I follow a lot of articles. I follow a lot of websites, YouTube channels. Okay, so I keep a read every day. Okay, if I miss some day, then I will make sure that I will read that as well on the next day as well. Okay, so in if you really be on top, if you really be on top, then you have to keep checking the what are the latest stuffs is going on. What even suppose Godot, I am not using Godot, okay, but I know the very basics of Godot, like what they are doing. If they got some financial help, then I will know everything about that as well. Okay, so let's say after 6 months my company decide to switch to Godot, then I I I think I should know the at least something that I can guide them. I can guide my management. Okay, if you want to start using this engine, then you have to think about this and this and that. Okay, so from that point of view, and even for up for art and everything. Like we should know the like if because in our industry, you know that sometimes some big company, take over these small companies, and after that, they close those tools and all that. So we have to keep track of everything. So uh, if you want to be really good at something, then you have to really work hard. You have to follow everything. Then that's the funda of becoming really good at.
Yeah, of course. And okay, so now some just fun generic questions, less tech oriented. So would you? I mean, you've kind of done this, so you can definitely give your opinion on this. Would you
Yeah.
rather run a 10-person company or a 1,000-person company, and why?
Uh, so whether I would run one person company or 10-person company,
No, no,
right?
10-person company or a 1,000-person company. So either a small company or a large company.
No, no, that doesn't matter to me. Okay. But what matters to me is like, uh, if I'm not the head of that company, then whoever is the head of the company, he should be from the gaming department. Okay. He should know how the game department works. Then I will be ready to work on a 10 people company. But if he is non-gaming guy, then I will not prefer that company, because what will happen that he will, think that okay, you should do everything, So because if you want to make a really good game, then there are different departments. Okay, like um, game artist cannot design the GDD, right? And whoever is working on GDD, he cannot make levels, right? So there are different departments. So whoever the head of the department, if he is the right guy, then I will be okay to work over there.
Okay. So you're not a big fan of, because like ZeniMax, that big video game studio, its ex CEO, which has actually passed away now, but like its ex
Yeah, I,
CEO
I will be happy
was
to work over there. That not the issue, but I will be okay to work on small company as well
yeah.
if it's a proper organized way.
Okay. No, what I was asking is like a company like that had like the CEO was a lawyer. He was not a game developer. He was not a
Mhm.
developer at all. So so you're saying you're not a big fan of studios that are run by
Yeah.
people that have never coded and definitely not even done game development. Then they're
Yes.
just
Yeah.
they're like an executive somewhere else. So you want them to have done it and ranked up themselves effectively.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, okay. And does money buy you happiness?
Yeah, definitely. Because uh, think think from any point of view. No? Suppose let's say I buy a really good laptop or a mobile phone. That will eventually help me into getting my knowledge better, right? That will help me to like done my job faster, right? So yeah, definitely.
Okay, so and would you rather have, obviously you're in India, so you'll have to do the translation, but would you rather
Yeah.
have $5 million up front or $500,000 a year for the rest of your life? So whatever that is in
Uh,
equivalent, Indian money.
$5 million, yeah, I would go for that upfront,
You
because
rather have, okay.
yeah, because I can like invest it such a way that in 5 years that will I will make sure that it will be multiplied by 10.
Okay. So like how would you go about that? Like what would you do to, invest that?
So see, I'm from India, and I'm particular from a state called Gujarat. Okay, so we are really good at investing our own money. Okay, it's like in our roots. Okay, so we know how you should invest your money in share markets or in properties and all that. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, I will make sure that definitely it will multiply by 5 for sure.
Okay, okay, that's good. And like, have you currently in your career invested in any assets or got any investments?
Yeah, so I told you purchased my own office, right, for my
Yes.
company. Yeah, so that is still my property. Okay, so I gave on the rent. So now I received rent, receiving rent on
Okay,
every
that's
month.
good.
Yeah. So that's why I told you, na. So we are really good at, making sure that nothing will be wasted. Okay. So even if today I decide to sell that my office, then I will get at least 20%, more than I bought it. Yeah.
Yes, of course, that's good.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite board game? Is it Ludo or is it something else?
It's called business. Okay, so I don't know whether you know about that. So
Um,
in our language, it's called vyapar, but in English, it's called business. Okay, it's a really good game. Really
is
good game.
it an Indian board game?
Uh, I can say it's a Indian, okay, but like in a lot of West side also they used to play, okay. So it's really like it's a family game, okay. Let's say if five members wants to play together, then we can play it, and basically we need to purchase one by one properties, and I can sell it over to you. You can buy from me and all that, okay. So
Okay,
basically.
so is it like Monopoly then, kind of?
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Monopoly, yeah,
Yes,
Monopoly.
okay,
So
like
that's
Monopoly.
a really good game, and so basically it will help you to enhance your mind, and your time will also pass, right? So that's really good for our right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I love Monopoly. It's one of my favorite board games. Okay,
Yeah.
so what's your favorite video game?
Uh, that will be really it will be really hard to say, but still I can say Super Mario.
Okay, the original Super Mario or Super
Yeah,
Mario
yeah,
in gen? The
yeah,
original.
Super.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and what video game are you looking forward to?
Uh, Nintendo Switch. I didn't have Nintendo Switch yet, so I'm planning to play like some games like which are really dedicated to Switch only. So yeah.
Okay, and I mean that's all the questions I have. The last question I always wrap up with is what advice would you give as a developer to other developers and especially to game developers?
Yeah, so especially to game developers, uh, it will be a tough for sure. Okay, but never give up. Okay,
Hmm.
and make create your small goals and long-term goals. Okay, and uh, you need to work really hard, and especially in today's era, if you really make a really good game, that doesn't mean it will get succeed. You need to really work hard on the marketing of the same. Okay, so that is really tough part. So think about marketing from the day one itself. Don't just develop game if you are indie developer, and just don't think about game only, and once game it's ready after 1 year, 1.5 year, and don't think about marketing or after that. Think about marketing from the day one itself if you are indie game developer. And in general, for developers I will say that uh, if you are working into particular one domain, be a expert of that. Okay,
Hmm.
just don't learn for like learning only. Don't saw two YouTube videos and say now I know Python. Okay. If you are learning something, make sure you will be the expert of that thing. Okay, and think from different department of the same domain. Okay, so what I mean by that is if you are a developer, but think from like management point of view, think from testing QA department as well, because that will help you to be a really the best of best. So if I give you the example of myself, so today if I get any new bug, okay, if somebody is like junior developer is working below me, so if he is not able to decide like why this is happening, uh, he will came to me. Okay, so by within 2 minutes I will told him that okay, this is happening because of this, even though I had not worked on that module. So I am able to say that because of my ability of thinking from different department. Okay, so just don't become developer for sake of it. Be a good at it, be an expert of it, and think from all the different department if you really looking forward to it.
Okay, so basically, really live the developer lifestyle. Don't just see it as
Yeah,
a means to an end. Look at this. Check out the mathematics. Check out the foundational stuff. Look at the stuff that's kind of linked to it because
yeah.
all help each other. The
And
design.
yeah, and along with that, concentration. Okay,
Hmm.
I found that normally people don't have good concentration. Okay, that is really helpful, because sometimes what happens that they are looking into code but still they are not finding the issue. That is because their lack of confidence and the because they had not spent really good amount of time while they were writing it. So better uh, give proper concentration, good time, and take some free time and spend that free time with your family and go to the vacation. And that time don't think about all this stuff, but when you are coding, think about only this stuff.
Of course, of course. And okay, before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to say to the audience?
Nothing much. I think we covered a lot of things.
We did,
Even
yes.
yeah, even I remember a lot of my old stuff.
Yeah, I'm guessing
Yeah,
it was a nice little trip down
yeah,
memory lane. So
yeah.
yeah, I want to thank Smit for coming on the podcast today. Thank you very much. I would love to have you on again because there's a lot of good stories you've got. You've got a lot of experience. Actually, before you go, one last question: where did the name for Sarjack Gaming Studio come from?
My father.
Okay. Oh, is it his
So
name or did he just make it
no,
up?
no. So Sarjak is basically a native word into my mother tongue. Okay,
Okay.
it means basically is creative. Okay. So Sarjak means creative only. So I asked my father at that time that I want to give some name, something in our language only. So he gave me this and I liked it. And so, and I first checked with the our government for trademark and everything. So it was available. The domain was available. So I just go forward with that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Like I said, I want to thank you very much for attending. Definitely have you on again and have a good day. And we'll talk soon, Smith. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
sure. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and let's stay connected.
Definitely. Bye.
Okay, bye. Bye. Thank you.